Now, the biggest enemy of success, I would say there's probably three enemies of success. The first big enemy is the comfort zone. The comfort zone is where people become comfortable doing what they're doing, and they don't like to change. So there's tremendous resistance to change in our society. 80% of the population finds reasons not to change, even if the change can be positive or beneficial.
Human beings are creatures of habit. They begin doing something and they soon become comfortable with it. After a while, they become extremely reluctant to change what they are doing or the situation they're in, even if they're not particularly happy or satisfied with it. They become content, complacent, and eventually they become afraid to change for any reason. They get into a rut, and the longer they stay in it, the deeper it grows, until they finally lose all hope of ever changing or improving their lives.
The second thing that holds people back is what is called learned helplessness.
People feel helpless. People feel overwhelmed by so many things going on around them. They feel that there is nothing they can do to improve their lives. And the predominant signal that learned helplessness has set in is contained in the words, I can't. People feel that they can't lose weight, can't get a better job, can't improve or change their relationships, can't increase their incomes, can't upgrade their knowledge and skills, and can't do anything else that they really want to. They have tried unsuccessfully so many times in the past that they have come to conclude automatically that there is nothing that they can do to change the future. The deadly combination of learned helplessness plus the comfort zone leaves a person feeling trapped and helpless, weak and powerless, unable to take control or to make any real difference in their lives. But the truth is that there are no real limits on what you can accomplish with your life. Within limits, whatever anyone else has done, you can probably do as well. The very fact that you can set a clear goal for yourself means that you probably have the ability to achieve it. In fact, if you think back on it, you'll recall that anything that you ever really wanted long enough and hard enough, you eventually got. You are not helpless, and you are not stuck in a rut or a comfort zone, except by choice. The two factors that create the feeling of helplessness and of being stuck in a rut are fear and ignorance. Fear is and always has been your greatest enemy. Fear and self-doubt do more to hold you back from dreaming big dreams and accomplishing great things than any other factors.
The fear of failure is learned in early childhood when children are told over and over again, no, stop. Don't. Get away from there. Stop touching that. Children hear the first word they hear over and over again is no. Stop. No. Children are driven by instinct to touch and taste and smell and feel and get into everything. They're little kamikaze pilots. They have no sense of danger. Nothing. And parents are always trying to protect them by saying, no, stop that. Get away from there. Leave that alone. Put that down. Now look what you've done. Children eventually, if they are verbally, emotionally, and physically disabused, begin to develop the feeling, I can't. I'm too small. Every time I try something, Mommy gets mad at me. They get angry with me. They shout at me. I can't. I can't. I can't. And as adults, whenever we're presented with a new opportunity, a new possibility, a book, a tape, a course, a job, a promotion, the first thing, I can't. I can't. Come up here and speak to the group. Oh, God, I can't. I can't. I can't. Just stand up and tell us how you got to where you are in your life. Oh, 54% of adults would rather die than speak in public. I can't. So whenever you're confronted with an opportunity to do something different, your natural response, which is taking you out of your comfort zone, I can't. We always feel this fear of failure in our solar plexus. It starts in the front of our body, and our solar plexus moves up through our stomach to our heart, our lungs, our throat. It can even give us headaches. It can cause our bladder to go loose and cause us to have to run and go to the bathroom. This fear of failure is terrible.
Now, here's the most wonderful thing about overcoming fears. If the fear of failure is summarized with the feeling, I can't, psychologists have found you can actually short-circuit or override the fear by saying to yourself very strongly, I can do it. 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 So whenever you're afraid of anything, talking to somebody, confronting someone, dealing with something, say to yourself over and over again, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And then just do it. And you'll be amazed the fear disappears. It's almost like poof, it's gone. So the key is, you're looking at that telephone, to pick up the phone, to cold call, to prospect, just say to yourself, I could do it, I could do it, I could do it, and pick it up and dial. And suddenly the fear disappears. And you do this repeatedly, and eventually you develop the habit of courage.
Tell your kids you can do it. Tell your spouse you can do it. Tell your friends you can do it. Tell people who are looking at a new challenge, you can do it. Start a business, you can do it. Call on a big customer, you can do it. Just tell people you can do it, because every single time you reinforce somebody else, you reinforce your own courage. What is the word encourage? It is to instill courage into. When you encourage other people, you actually encourage yourself. And remember, fear is the big enemy. Our job is to get rid of this fear of failure. This fear of failure that holds us back and paralyzes us.
The same reason that people stay in relationships where they're abused or they're unhappy or it's unfulfilling. They can't see themselves beyond that relationship. They can't see themselves enjoying life without that person. They think that this is all that they can do. The same reason that people get stuck at a certain level in life. They can't see things being better for them. And they think that this is it and this is all they deserve. This is all they've ever seen. It's been passed on to them. And they think that this is it for them. Look at what Dr. Blanton, Smiley Blanton, who is a colleague of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, what he said about fear. He said, fear is the most subtle and destructive of all human diseases. Fear, ladies and gentlemen, can hold you back from doing something that you know within yourself that you're capable of doing, but it will paralyze you. And it seemed like you're in a hypnotic spell.
Imagine if you weren't afraid of anything in the whole world, what a difference it would make. Imagine if you were guaranteed a success in anything. If somebody waved a magic wand and said, whatever you do from now on, you'll be successful. And you went out here and you could do anything, call on anybody, go anywhere, start anything, try anything, and you'd be successful. We don't realize how much of a role fear plays in our life until we think what we would do if we didn't have any. And B is the fear of rejection. Fear of rejection is the second big fear, and it's learned when children are told, you'd better or else. If you don't, you're going to be in big trouble. Now you're in trouble, and parents withdraw their love and affection from the child and express disapproval and anger for what the child does. And the child wants to get along and wants to be loved and needs love more than anything else. So children learn at a very early age, if you want to get along, you better go along. So they eventually stop doing what their parents disapprove of, and they start saying, I have to. I have to do what mommy wants. I have to do what daddy wants. I have to do what they approve of, or they won't love me. And then we become adults, and this goes unconscious, and it's programmed into our subconscious mind, and many adults become hypersensitive. They're hypersensitive to the opinions of others. They're hypersensitive to the criticism of others. I have to do this. I have to do that. If I don't do this, he won't like me. She won't like me. They won't like me. They'll disapprove of me. So therefore, we become hypersensitive. We have this fear of rejection, which is a fear of criticism. It's a fear of ridicule. It's a fear of disapproval. And we find that all successful people have to overcome these fears of failure and these fears of criticism, these fears of disapproval in order to move ahead in their lives. So what is the counter to the words I have to? It is, I don't have to. I don't have to. I can do anything I want to do, and I don't have to do anything I don't have to do. One of the most important things we do in life is we begin to define ourselves in our own terms. What this means very simply is this, is you do what you do because you want to do it and because it's consistent with what you think is the best in your own life. And you don't do it or not do it because you're afraid of what others might think. Because what others might think is really quite irrelevant because it changes all the time anyway. I read Cyrano de Bergerac, the play by Edmond Rostand some years ago. Cyrano was an extraordinarily individualistic, self-confident, outspoken man. Just a great, interesting man. Later on in the book, they ask him, they say, Cyrano, or in the play, Cyrano, why is it that you have always been so individualistic? You always have gone your own way. You've always been indifferent to the opinions of others. He said, as a young man, I thought about this a lot, and I realized that the opinions of others were inconstant and constantly changing. So I resolved to follow the law of least resistance in this that I would please at least myself in all things. And you know something? This is the height of rationality. Because everybody else's opinion comes and goes and changes and is inconstant as the wind and the weather. Please at least yourself. If you have to doubt, you say, what do I want to do? What do I, me, really want to do? And don't sacrifice your life because of what you think that others may think. Because the fact of the matter is, if you knew how little others really thought about you, you'd be insulted. Don't ever sacrifice your life because of your concern with what you think others may think. There's a direct relationship, a reverse relationship between self-esteem on the one escalator and your fears of failure and rejection on the other. When you talk to yourself in a positive way, you think, feel, and act in a positive and constructive way. 95% of your emotions at any moment are determined by how you talk to yourself.
Learn to be your own booster. Start building yourself up. Start encouraging yourself. Start saying, I can do this. I can make this happen. I believe that you have to begin to consciously monitor your inner conversation and start talking to yourself. Start building yourself up. Sometimes the only good things you will hear about you are the things that you say to you. When I started thinking about becoming a speaker, I said, yes, I can do this. You can do this. Other people have done it. It doesn't take an Einstein.
If you talk to yourself in a positive, constructive, dynamic way, I like myself. I'm the best. I love my work. I can do anything I put my mind to do. If you talk to yourself like that, then your self-esteem gets higher and higher and your fears get lower and lower. It's not your fears will go away, but when you do have little fears, you confront them. You counterattack them. You charge at them with, first of all, taking charge of your mind and then doing what it is you fear until the fear is gone.
So, as Ralph Waldo Emerson said, do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. What he said was to confront your fears. The natural human tendency is to avoid a fear-causing or fear-inducing situation. So the reason you want to confront your fears is not because of the incident specifically, it's because of what it does for your character. You want to demonstrate to yourself that you can face down a fear and look it square in the eye, and suddenly, surprise, surprise, it goes away, and you realize that the fear was in your own mind. So here's an exercise for you. Identify one fear situation in your life today and use that as your challenge. Use that as your test case. You say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to face this fear down. I'm going to hammer it. I'm going to smash it. I'm going to look it right in the eye. I'm going to deal with it direct, head on, like a car hitting a wall until the fear is gone. And once you've done that, you'll look up and you'll be a different person. For the rest of your life, you'll know that nothing that you're afraid of can stop you. And the third enemy is what we call the path of least resistance, which is always looking for an easy way to achieve a result. But nothing worthwhile can be achieved easily. Everything worthwhile requires a long period of hard work.
Ain't no elevator to the top. You got to take the stairs. The elevator don't go to the top, man. Not in the world of success. You got to take the stairs. Y'all got to start getting gritty, man. Y'all got Google. You can Google anything. You all have stuff at your fingertips that can make you great. But if you could combine your technology with your parents and your grandparents' work ethic, your could be rich. You could be rich, man. But you cannot erase the work ethic part. There is no getting around how you rely on technology, and it's a help to you. But young people, you got to get gritty, man. You got to develop some dog in you. You got to understand that success, you can't Google success. Go Google it. You can't Google it, man. I got something else for you. Because I've lived so long and I've been exposed to so many things. I've seen stuff hopefully you'll never see. And I've seen some things I hope one day you do see. But go Google exposure. It ain't going to take you nowhere. I've been around the world, man, because I've traveled it. But I traveled it because I've made myself uncomfortable. I have a life of convenience now. But in order to get the life of convenience, you got to have a very uncomfortable life. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Stop trying to do everything the short way. Stop trying to figure out the easy way, because the ain't gonna happen. I got news for you, man. It's not happening, young people. You got to get messed up sometime. I hate it when I see young people wasting their time, wasting all this technology got, just sitting around in this world that's been created for you, that everything is instant.
Millennials, they've grown up in a world of instant gratification. You want to buy something, you go on Amazon, it arrives the next day. You want to watch a movie? Log on and watch a movie. You don't check movie times. You want to watch a TV show? Binge. You don't even have to wait week to week to week, right? I know people who skip seasons just so they can binge at the end of the season, right? Instant gratification. You want to go on a date? You don't even have to learn how to be like, hey. You don't even have to learn and practice that skill. You don't have to be the uncomfortable one who says yes when you mean no and says no when you mean no, but yes when you... You don't have to swipe right. Bang, I'm a stud. Right? You don't have to learn the social coping mechanisms. Right? Everything you want, you can have instantaneously. And like I said, even dating is just a swipe to the right. Right? Everything is instant. Everything is instant gratification. And the problem is, too many people have applied that sense of instant gratification to their careers and to their lives. And the problem is, there ain't no app for that. Life, career fulfillment are journeys. They are slow, uncomfortable processes. And so I keep meeting these wonderful, fantastic, idealistic, hardworking, smart kids. They've just graduated school. They're in their entry-level job. I sit down with them and I go, how's it going? They go, I think I'm going to quit. I'm like, why? They're like, I'm not making an impact. I'm like, you've been here 8 months. You know? It's as if they're standing at the foot of a mountain and they have this abstract concept called impact that they want to have in the world, which is the summit. What they don't see is the mountain. I don't care if you go up the mountain quickly or slowly, but there's still a mountain. And so what this young generation needs to learn is patience. That some things that really, really matter, like love, or job fulfillment, joy, love of life, self-confidence, a skill set, any of these things, all of these things take time. Sometimes you can expedite pieces of it, but the overall journey is arduous and long and difficult.